Hello everyone, this is the Twins of Destruction in part 2 of our Legacy of the First Blade DLC breakdown. If you want to watch part 1, it will be linked down below. And if you want to watch part 3, if it's up by now, it will be linked down below. This is an overall review going from start to finish over all the things that we thought were bad or wrong about Legacy of the First Blade. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. It really goes far for showing your support, and let's get into this. So this DLC just begins, and they're already making references to not settling down and not resting.
Not for us.
There's no identification on what the timeline is. You just get a random note from someone, you don't even know it's from Darius, and you show up and it's Darius.
The order have your scent.
So
If you stay still
you show
too
up,
long,
and of course there's something to do. Natakas is missing, and you need to go find him.
Even if all I
The
want
way
is to
you get
stay.
there is just pathetic.
I don't see Natakas.
I don't even have words
That's why
for
I
it.
sent the note.
Just
Bravo.
watch.
We came to Achaea.
When
You must have
asked
some
about
idea
Natakas,
about what happened to Natakas.
He's smart. Knows to keep to the shadows.
I would love to hear someone's explanation as to why they keep alluding to stealth and shadows.
Follow me.
Like, what in the hell was that? The fact that we already established in the last video Darius is not a member of the Brotherhood, and he does a leap of faith like it's nothing, and don't pull the whole people can jump off roofs at any time period, blah blah blah. No, this is utter bullcrap. Then with the guy, that's not your roof. Oh my god, shut up. Who are you? Why do you do this? This is not supposed to be funny. And then Cassandra's so, like, humble bragging about, I've jumped from higher. Like, this is just so cringy. It's like a sitcom.
They're searching for something.
Look at their body language. They want blood.
They'll
Okay.
get it.
And she's obviously threatening before
We need a
anything.
plan. If Natakas is hiding here, he could be drawn into heavy battle.
If we move quietly, we can
She
pick
was
off the
just
guards
about to
one
go
by
out there guns blazing.
A wise plan, Eagle Bearer. Clear the perimeter, quietly.
So presumably you haven't seen Natakas in a while. I'm assuming it's a couple years given their interaction with each other. But it's just as cringy as you can imagine, if not worse. They talk to each other like a long-lost love couple,
Natakas.
and they're already Googling into each other's eyes.
Oh yes.
They're
We were supposed to
flirting
meet
and
again.
everything,
Trust
like they
me,
never
I
missed a
I
beat.
made a big deal about it. Sounded confident and everything.
Like, he thinks he's
Next time
funny,
I'll
but
do
it's
my
just,
best where I
it's
read.
just not
I'm
hitting
sure
it
that
off.
you do. I'm glad to see you, Cassandra.
When you tell him that you're not there
Truth is,
for him,
I'm
he
here
gets
because
so
your father
upset,
contacted
and it's
me.
so visually, like,
Of course.
attentive. Is that the word? Like, they want you, Ubisoft wanted you to know that he is upset that you're not there for him. Obligatory Darius and Natakas reunion,
There's something else.
and this worst character in Assassin's Creed history right here.
There are still people who need our help. People who have been stranded in Achaea. The soldiers took them to a fort, not far from here.
So you need to go save people
I'll go there now.
because
More soldiers could come looking. If we leave the bodies
Why are
out
people
here, it
stranded?
may attract
what has the
unwanted
Tempest done
I'll
that
gather
can
the others
strand
while you hide the
people?
bodies.
Why? I don't understand how they
The
strand
stranded
people.
are at the fort, on top of the cliff. Return safely.
Bring my mother back to me, please.
By far the best Assassin's Creed character. In the last video, we discussed that the cult was not acknowledging the existence of the Order because they hid. Now it's been proven that they are actually working together.
The order and the cult
Okay,
working
if this
together.
is years after, then I
surprising.
guess that makes sense, and the fact that the Order's presence is more well known, with the Tempest creating a blockade and all.
Amorgus will not forget the
That's gonna be
huntsman's death at
contradicted.
the hand of a tainted one. He's cunning,
Why did he do the motion of him
Sharper
holding his
than
fist like
any
Amorcus
blade.
does?
He may already be here.
They're literally
observing
telling us
us,
the plot.
Learning from our movements, from our choices, discovering our weaknesses.
These people need
You're
our
not
help.
fighting for
We have to do
innocence, you're
something.
fighting
Isn't
against
this
the
what we're
Order.
fighting for? Aren't they worth the risk?
Against the three
Her
of us,
emotional
the
shift right
Tempest
here
doesn't
is
stand a
so
chance.
bad, it's so
Break
obvious.
her,
It's like she snapped her fingers, and then she just
and
gets
then
sad all of a
you'll
sudden.
be free to
This
live
wasn't a
with
dialogue
us
option.
forever.
She's sad that Natakas will leave. Why? Next, you meet Orontes,
The life of a mercenary is
and
a
you
life
can
of
actually
obligation.
tell him that you
I like
want
to
a
keep
simple
busy.
life. I didn't, but he gives this whole rant about how he didn't have one and blah blah blah,
What
and
brings you to a
this
hero?
has too many allusions to leading a simple life. Given that, spoiler alert, you do.
I've
You can
lived in
brag
chaos.
about living in chaos
Show you a
and
trick or
learning
two.
how to do it. This also goes against
Cleta sent
settling
me to
down
you.
and living a
She said
simple
you lost
life.
your ships.
You can have a Cassandra that just does not care to.
Troubling times, Mistios. Achaea is growing more dangerous by the day. And
But
need
we don't
to
know
save what
why.
we can.
What is the Tempest doing to make it
Discuss
more
the
dangerous?
conflict with Cleta.
Tell me
When
more
mentioning
about
her
your
daughter, this is an interesting
As a
answer.
child, she was unusual. My Phila. She captains the skill.
Surprise,
Your
surprise.
daughter is the Tempest?
It's been years since I've heard from her. I pushed her too much, too far. And now it feels like I've pushed her away forever.
I'm actually surprised they didn't outright call out Alexios
It must be
as
painful to
being this
realize what she's
long-lost
become.
sibling of
She's gone
yours
too far.
or family member,
Harmed too
because
many.
this is exactly what they were telling. It's the
Now
same
is the
story
time to dwell
from the
on
main
past.
campaign.
Orondas need
So Orontes had ships, but they were taken from him, so now we need to go get him back. So we need to talk to the most annoying person in the entire game.
I recognize you. I took your
And how
ships.
could I forget one tiny detail? He hates Misthioses. After a lot of useless banter, it comes down to pay me 50,000 drachmae or go find a bunch of junk laying around the shipyard to exchange for literally a ship. So Tempest guards come out of nowhere and want to take Cassandra, but instead Orontes goes with them. Remember this for later, this actually comes back, I guess, as a main story element, but it's very, like, tongue-in-cheek, like, very obvious why he did this, but right now it's kind of like, it's really weird, and it's meant to be storytelling told after, which is a really weird way to tell the story.
The Tempest can't be redeemed. Look
You have a
at the
conversation
chaos
with
she's
Cleta
caused to Achaea
talking
and to
about
you.
her daughter,
parents always believe
and
in their children.
again, it mirrors the original game. You have had this exact conversation with your mother about your brother.
I should have.
Your mother repeats the same thing. I shouldn't have let him get taken by the cult. Blah, blah, blah.
What will you do, Cassandra?
I'm sorry, Cleta. She needs to be dealt with.
The game does this thing where it asks you questions and it's so obvious that it wants an answer. So they say, everyone looks at you, what will you do? Dramatic pause. And then there's an obvious answer. And it's very cringy.
I should go help the rest.
Getting ready for something?
Good. You're finally here.
You mentioned something big is about to happen in Achaea.
I've heard that the Tempest chief engineer is developing a new weapon.
A new weapon? That can't be good for us.
He's trying to flee Achaea.
If he does want
How
us,
convenient.
maybe we can convince him to help us defeat the Tempest.
He's attending the shipbuilding symposium at the amphitheater here in Achaea.
I can head over to the amphitheater now.
There seems to be a discussion about a plan. A secret weapon for the
There's a
Tempest.
discussion
The
in
chief
public
engineer
about a
should have
secret
more
weapon
information
for a
about it.
secret organization.
Sounds easy enough.
The answer to the code word, I am Poseidon's chosen.
How would you know that?
The chief engineer is amongst the attendees. Seek him out.
That blade means a lot to you. Where does it come from?
I forged it myself. But it's more than a blade to me. It's a choice.
It takes skill to get so close to a target.
That's the point.
Talk about a call out.
What convinced
So
you to help
awkward
us
how
find
he
the
says
secret
this.
areas?
It's
The
almost
Takas'
like his
heart
voice actor
is
was
in the
trying to
right
sound
place,
reluctant
and I want to
because he
encourage
wants
that.
to stay,
But the moment we're done,
but
we're leaving
he
the Greek
doesn't.
world for good.
I'll head to the amphitheater now and find the chief engineer.
So this is Darius' secret hideout, a see-through ship that is literally in the middle of a public location.
I am Poseidon's chosen.
So Cassandra goes up to random people, uttering a random phrase that she met, that she learned, which makes no sense how Darius even learned it, because he barely even heard of the engineer. What's with the gestures?
Poseidon's...
Idiot.
What?
You're not his chosen.
Look at her
You're his
face.
idiot.
She's so
I could hear you
uninterested.
from here, pestering people. Who told you about me?
She's so
Friend of
uninterested.
mine has been asking around about
Everyone always makes jokes about how Cassandra is so loud.
you.
Why is she known as an assassin then?
Such freely offered help often comes with a hidden cost.
Not this time. I promise.
Well, if the Tempest had sent you, I'd be dead by now.
Oh, obvious guy with an eye patch. Wonder if he's a good guy.
Like this weapon I've heard about.
The Chimera's breath. My greatest creation, but also my greatest regret. I left before they could
Let me know if
force
this
me to
sounds familiar.
complete it.
Scientist creates a deadly
Without
weapon.
my finishing
Leaves
touches,
before
it
it's
will never
completed.
work as intended.
Tell me more about this secret weapon. What does it do?
It's meant to engulf enemy ships in a torrent of flames.
Completely destroys the enemy.
Works extremely well.
Works
Installation's
well.
the tricky part, though. If done incorrectly, it backfires. Horrid.
To get Chimera's breath installed on your ship, you need the plans. And the plans...
Oh, how do I get the plans?
The Tempest's fleet commander has them. He's manning the naval blockade.
So they have the plans.
I'll get to work. The plans are written in a code that only I can read. So even
But
when
they
we
can't
have to,
read it.
It'll take some time.
I'll meet you back here when I'm done.
Because only he can read the code.
Good.
And
I
of
was
course,
wondering
Darius
how we could
appears out of
build a
nowhere,
blockade.
turns around, and he is again Batman
I'll take care of
gone. Kind of funny how similar this story sounds to the creation of the Death Star. With a scientist who knows what he's doing, leaves early on, they hunt him down and try to get him back. So you get the plans and come back and find the engineer dead with Eye Patch Man with cringy dialogue and Darius standing there.
Oh, look who decided to show up just in time.
They have enough time to crack some jokes
Kill them both!
and knuckle cracking.
We should warn
So the
others.
code reader's
They might
dead.
be in danger too. I'll have Arnavas take a look at the
We're gonna
plans.
give Barnabas
In
the
any case,
plans.
We shouldn't linger here.
Back to the shadows then.
Why? Back to the shadows? What? The wife is introduced, and she says that there are code books scattered all throughout the world. They're literally collectibles that can read the plans. So you need these code books. There's no way getting around it. You need these code books
I'll
to
end
make
the
Chimera's
Tempest
breath.
with or without your husband's weapon. Either way, he'll be avenged.
So this is the first view of the Tempest, and apparently she's so scary that even a little girl runs. Why? What is she, Darth Vader? That even the sight of her frightens the littlest of children? How comic book villain can you get?
We weren't expecting you.
And of
Tempest.
course,
My
we weren't
weapons,
expecting
Lieutenant.
you, which is the
are
scene
they?
straight from Star Wars. And she forces them to
They're
test
installed, but not
Chimera's
tested.
breath, and the ship explodes.
Fire them.
We get it, you're a badass.
You stay here.
Her saying that makes it seem like she knew that it was going to blow up. and that she only sent him on this ship just to kill him. What a waste. So after the whole debacle at the shore, you lead information to a warehouse for some reason, and Natakis has this beautiful plan to draw attention, because apparently that's going to let him get inside. This is so confusing. The entire plan is just, why would you drag attention towards you? The entirety of the plan just doesn't make sense.
Tell me where the Tempest is. What's her plan?
So you interrogate this random dude who tells you absolutely nothing that you already didn't know, and she kills him anyway.
She locked down all of Achaea to trap you, eagle bearer.
Oh look, I got one of the code books that you really, really need to build Chimera's Breath. She's gonna have Barnabas look at it, because he can apparently read the damn code book. How can anyone install the Chimera's Breath without the code books decoded? And then Cassandra says that she doesn't have it,
I am Poseidon's chosen,
and then makes a
after
cheeky
all.
joke.
Surprise the Tempest. Barnabas and I will launch a sea attack. Using the Chimera's Breath to
You don't
disable
have the
seal
Chimera's
will be our
Breath.
best chance to get everyone off the coast.
Takis and I will make sure everyone is on board the ships. This is our chance to leave Achaea.
I don't know why they're risking their life for like 10 people.
Darius is right, Natakas. You should be on those ships.
Again, you
Both
can
of
turn down
you, and
Natakis'
your way out.
pleas
What
of
do you
love,
think, Natakas?
and he gets very, very upset about it.
It's our only chance.
You have to take it.
We will.
We'll need
So
somewhere to
apparently
stay
their
until then.
see-through ship is
Somewhere
not
that
good
won't
enough
raise
anymore,
suspicion.
and they need a new
I know
hideout.
just the place.
But of course,
A house
Cleta
with a
comes to the
hill.
rescue. Where does she take them? Huh, I wonder. Where could the plot need them
Let's
to
go there
be? This is literally the same house from the beginning. This is the same house that you leap of faith off of
It
in the
belonged to a
very
friend of
first
mine.
30 seconds.
He tried to get
Why
rid of
is this
Achaea.
the house
He did.
that Cleta owns?
I
Like, there
need to
couldn't
prepare
be any
first.
more coincidences in this
Feel too
DLC.
soon.
There's something about this place.
Again, you can completely deny every single one of Natakis'
I like it.
advances.
It's peaceful. Too bad we won't stay.
So instead of taking the fight to the Tempest, they sit here in an empty
We'll
house
probably keep running. As
and
always.
flirt.
At least there's wine.
Like, they make jokes about wine,
At least there's wine.
and then they, like, glance at each other. Oh, what? Like... So Cassandra and Natakis are having fun, and Darius thinks they're being attacked, when in reality, they're just joking around. And then it gives perfect time for Darius to hear Natakis talk about how his father's not easy to open up to. Wow, what great character building. This wasn't forced at all.
This reminds me of when we met in Macedonia. We ate boar beneath the stars.
Yeah, that was disgusting, remember? Cassandra hated it, but then all of a sudden she loved it.
Until tonight.
Then let's make the most of it.
This flirting is so bad.
I should find Darius and the others. The stranded people are probably at the docks already.
If it wasn't obvious that Natakis and Cassandra are going to get together, this DLC, the second part, really hits it on the nose. She's glancing down at him because they're helping the 10 people escape Achaea.
Real
When-
connections with people are rare, Cassandra. We shouldn't be too quick to let them go.
How does Cleta understand anything that they've gone through? She has no idea.
Misthios. I can't afford connections.
And of course, you can deny it yet again. You can deny every advance that anyone has ever made in this DLC towards having your own simple life. Yet it still happens. There is one ship leaving with 10 people. They're looking out on the ocean.
Hey, Captain! What's going on? A massive fleet has gathered nearby.
And you can't see that. You were just looking out on the ocean.
What?
Did it appear out of thin air?
These people.
She knows. Somehow she knows.
We'll never know how she
Going
knows.
to
They never
kill us
explain it.
all in one swift blow.
We won't be destroyed. I'll sink every last ship.
Not with Chimera's breath.
How?
Barnabas, ready the ship for battle. And the Chimera's breath.
It's not ready.
It isn't ready yet. We haven't even finished assembling it. I'll need...
We'll start without it.
It's not even assembled. How did you even start assembling it to make it?
Good luck.
You don't have the code books decoded.
Here they come.
Like it's the most dramatic ship battle.
Sure would help right about now, Barnabas.
You bet Poseidon's ass, Captain. We're working on it.
What, was he going to change his mind in 2 seconds? Why would you say his name again? Don't have the code book. Don't have the engineer. Guess what? You still get Chimera's
See
breath.
what this thing can do.
This thing demolishes in combat. It makes ship battles nearly obsolete. They weren't even impossible to begin with. But just adding them, it just doesn't add a challenge. You just sit there and flame.
Because you came fire.
Oh, how funny. So the ship is sunken and this man on this horse rides up. Who is this mysterious man? Has he anything to do with the plot? Will he do anything important? No. He will do nothing important. He has nothing to do. He has only one thing to say, and it's at the end.
You okay?
So, of course, this nice young man shows up, and he literally gets killed.
You need...
Why? Why did he have to die? There is no reason other than to make the Tempest
I don't
look
need anything.
evil. Like, she already was badass, apparently. Like, this is forced badassery. And so, of course,
I've already
there's
destroyed your boat.
dialogue.
Don't
Why
make
wouldn't there
me
be?
destroy you too. You! Amorgus told me all about the Tainted Ones. It is not your fault you were born as you are, but it is your fate to die like the rest.
So Tainted Ones
I
should
will do
die.
what the Order needs
Remember,
done.
she said that Tainted Ones should all be killed.
You! What are you doing here?
What great
So
emotions.
much. I want to say so many things.
She just had a stroke.
Give me a chance.
You had your chance. You had years.
I had to protect you.
By ignoring
I
her?
was drowning. Who do you think pulled me out?
Wait, that's
You?
why she became this
The Order is
badass?
my family.
Because she was
You are
drowning?
just a memory. My past.
You'll never be one of them. You're a tainted one, Fila.
What?
What? I know what I am.
Wait, you know what you
Amorgus
are,
gave me
but
purpose,
Cassandra should
guided
still
me.
die
I'm
because
no
she's also a
monster.
Tainted One.
I am the Tempest. You're too far gone. You're
This is
Amorgus's
another
puppet.
interaction
Can't
that
you
you've
see
also had with Alexios.
No. We
You're a
might be
puppet for the
tainted
cult,
ones,
blah blah
but
blah.
that
You're not
doesn't
really
make us who
working
we
with
are.
them.
No. I control my fate. I control my future.
Please, Fila. Let's just talk. You and me. Forget everything here. Come with us.
If you tell her to go
Don't.
forward, she dies.
She's
If
too
you tell her
far
to stay
gone.
back,
She's
she
not
lives.
your daughter anymore.
Both endings are identical. Other than that.
I'm sorry.
Cue anime rage. So here's the issue with the Tempest being a Tainted One. Cassandra is a Tainted One because her line of DNA is apparently directly derived from an Isu hybrid. That means Cassandra is an exact 50% hybrid because every person in her DNA was a 50% Isu hybrid. 50% Isu, 50% human. when they said that the Tempest was a tainted one. How, though? Because Cleta's not a tainted one, so that means that her DNA is not full. She's not full 50%. So, what does it mean to be a tainted one? I know I said in the last video that it means just Isu DNA, but she also said, her mother, Cleta, that the Tempest was strong at a young age. If the blood is what gives Cassandra her power, and Cassandra has the highest concentration of Isu DNA, given that her DNA is all concentrated from 100%, or as much as it can be, the full 50% hybrid, why is Cleta's daughter, the Tempest, strong? Because if she just has Isu DNA just because, she's not like Cassandra. Cassandra has 50% Isu DNA. Cleta has beneath 50%. Let alone the fact that Cassandra gets her strength from her spear. So why is the Tempest strong as a child? It doesn't make any sense. Why would she be strong when it's not even the blood that gives you the strength, let alone the fact that she's not even a full-blooded hybrid? The boss fight is identical to every other boss fight in the game. There goes that horseman that I said was daringly important earlier.
Get up! Complete your mission, Tempest! It's the will of Amorgus! We are not your enemies, Vila.
So instead of finishing Cleta off,
that you are nothing more than
Darius
an
literally
instrument
gives
of
her
Caesar's
the
command.
option to fight.
Be more than that. Don't let them take away your humanity. Stand and fight!
And then she just collapses. And he runs away? Like, what is going on? Why wouldn't Darius kill him to begin with? He pulled his blade out. Here you get actually a decent mother-daughter moment.
Life for people like us.
To be honest, this is what should have been with Marini and Cassandra. But instead it was pushed to a DLC, and it was pushed to further the idea that simple lives are impossible to live, and the same narrative that the entire past episode and this episode has been trying to push.
Do you hear me? I've always been proud of you.
Cleta's emotions are not matching her gestures at all.
You always will be.
Of course she got her boat. So Cassandra took the boat, but Cleta just had it. Did Cassandra just take the boat from Cleta? Like, why would she do that? Cleta's still alive. I don't understand why she would do that. Where'd she even get it from? She's not even holding it in her hand. She just pulled it, like, out of nowhere.
Darius and attackers should be safe now.
So she talks to herself about the justification of them leaving the Greek world forever, and she's telling herself it's a good thing. I really don't understand why she's so upset. Cassandra has never been this upset at anything ever before. And all of a sudden this is just heartbreaking for her.
Mother, we can finally go home.
You once told me of a dream you had. A simpler life. A small stall in the Agora.
Why is this dialogue just so patchy?
I remember.
Are you going to do it?
Yet again, you can
Unlike you,
deny
Darius.
every single
I could sit
advancement
still
towards
for
a
you.
simple life. It still happens.
Boat sailing with or without you. It's now or never.
Cassandra.
Darius. So, this is it.
They want you to, like, have an emotional moment here, but it was so forced that I couldn't feel really anything. I felt so mixed. The ending that I chose was probably the most unique because I wanted to see what would happen if you didn't choose anything. The other ones are pretty straightforward. If you tell him to stay, he stays. If you tell him to leave,
Said everything we couldn't. It's in Rime, in the house.
the ending is the same.
Look for the wine.
I always do.
So on her way back to the house to read the note, she has like little talks with herself about how it was stupid that she didn't say anything, about how she's alone again, about all these different things. And I still can't believe her because she's never cared about having a relationship. She's never bothered. Cassandra has this conversation like she has never had a relationship before. There's been all these relationships in the game, Barnabas, Roxana, all these people that she has loved, and she gets hit the hardest on this one. I don't understand. Why is she so upset? Alone again, yet
It's so quiet. This place was filled with laughter once.
it's a letter
Maybe once was
from
enough.
someone you just met a couple years ago, as far as I were aware. We can't even tell the timeline.
Natakis' letter.
So she sits there and reads her letter.
Natakis. At least there's wine.
So she's still relating. She's actually crying. I don't think I've ever seen her in the entire game cry. And she's crying. Not even, well, when Phoebe died, but that was it.
At least there's wine.
Fantastic. He's
Real
back.
connections with people are rare.
Did they literally turn
We
the
shouldn't
boat
be too quick to let
around?
them go.
How does he know that quote from Coletta? Because he wasn't even there when she said it. Most awkward hug in video game history. They're not even like touching each other. And there's Darius. Like I said, they want you to feel sad. I don't know what I feel. So, of course, they're getting the house ready because they gotta settle down. They're cutting carrots, they're throwing them at each other. They're literally in a relationship. There's no joke. They're training. Darius and Cassandra are training. Like, oh, romantic moonlight. Oh, can't wait. Oh, how cute. Sometime later. That is the only time slot in the entire game. Sometime later. There's never been 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever. So this is supposed to mirror the original opening to the game. So what? Cassandra's new life? I'm going to be skipping a bunch of this because all it is Cassandra talking to Darius about Elpidios, who you'll see who that is in a minute, and going to get bread and milk. It's literally a fetch quest to get bread and milk. They wanted this feeling of Cassandra actually settling down, so they gave her normal human things to do, rather than Misthios Minotaur fighting things to do. And it couldn't be more boring And there's interactions with the townsfolk, and of course everyone knows her, blah, blah, blah. This just couldn't end soon enough. Like, I couldn't care about this bald farm guy. And then, of course, there's a fetch quest inside a fetch quest. Like, I couldn't care about any of this. This is just all so boring. Like, why am I carrying straw? Like, it doesn't make sense. So then it cuts back to the actual juicy part. They actually had to add an update to change this part of the dialogue. And guess what? Much like you can anticipate, nothing changed. It was so controversial, we made even a video on it about how this addition, to the story, that it infuriated some people. Like I said, there were many relationships in the game that you can have. Some that actually were lesbian or gay, depending on your gender. That right there is a defiance to every other relationship that you could have in the game. Why would Cassandra have a baby? Let alone the fact that if your Cassandra was asexual, what if she never had a relationship? Why would she settle? That baby is the worst thing. Those sounds in the animations, look at her face and how bad that animation is. Like, this is just utterly embarrassing with how this actually passed through. And then they talk about this is our home. This is the cutscene that was changed. You can love or you can do normal. And the one that was normal was changed to, I did this for the bloodline. But nothing else was changed. How is this for the bloodline? You have a baby for your bloodline. Marini originally had you to further the bloodline. But you are a full-blooded hybrid. Natakas is not Isu. Why would you further the bloodline if you're not marrying an Isu? It doesn't make sense. Furthering the bloodline does not make sense past Cassandra.
That's where your mother grew up.
And of course it relates back to Kefalonia. They use the same baby model over and over throughout this game. Every time there's a baby, it's the same model. They never showed the face before. But this face is just so badly rendered and so badly animated. It's like they went on Google and searched baby sounds and found the first one that came up. Like, you can hear the echo of the audio room with the baby. Like, it's not good. And then the animation with Cassandra coddling the baby and making sounds, like, that's cringy. It doesn't make sense. How is this Cassandra? How is she a mom? And then she has this whole lovey-dovey conversation regardless of your choice with Natakas. And of course Darius is the cringy granddad that has to fit in, has to be the cool cat.
But fate does not define us. Our actions do. Our little Leonidas spoke his first word today.
What? I didn't hear.
The jokes are so cringy. This joke right here.
Pater. Or maybe he burped. It's hard to tell at his age.
And then cue laughter. Like, this is so bad. If you want to know why Assassin's Creed Odyssey is bad without the DLC, you can just play the game. But if you want a perfect example of wasting your money, just watch this last cutscene. But wait, there's more. Only 50 yards away stands
Is there
Orontes.
more beautiful than this? A simple life.
Persian guards. Oh no, that could only mean...
Get word to Persia. Send the fleet. Send everyone.
By your command, Amorges.
Oh no, what a good ending. Wow. I know I'm being completely sarcastic, but that's the only emotion I feel. Because this ending was such a joke. This DLC was such a joke. Like, Darius literally explained how they would do that. How he would go live and watch their every move. This game explains itself. It writes itself. Because they couldn't write it normally. They had to hint at it. Ubisoft thought people wouldn't understand. Oh, how was he getting there? Well, they had to write in that Amorgus is probably doing that.
We've been doing well. The people are all
So you can have these conversations afterwards.
Really?
Yes, it's been interesting watching him interact with the villagers. It's taken him a while, but he's more relaxed. This place is good for him.
They try to make it seem like Darius is a fish out of water, living with
No
people.
one father and I can't handle.
Maybe we should move someplace safer.
No, Cassandra. This is where we belong now. I will not let Elpidios live his life on the road like I did.
Okay.
Does a Mistios make a good living?
I have no idea why he talks like that.
I won't own an island anytime soon, but
But you do all right.
I do all right. I like your secret sword.
Seriously?
Hidden blade.
Hidden blade. I've got a spear.
You've got King Leonidas' spear.
How did you know?
I was there, Cassandra, at Thermopylae. I've seen that blade in full flight.
You were at Thermopylae.
Perhaps.
Okay, so that adds more mystery to
After
Darius.
Macedonia, but before here, what were you and Attakas doing?
Surviving.
So this is just a recycled conversation
You were
from the
hoping I would
beginning of the
entertain you
DLC.
with grand tales from my legendary adventures?
Well, yes.
We've kept to the shadows, stayed away from people. Dal is safe, Cassandra. Adventure is not.
The lore changes to this DLC are also pretty big, much like the lore changes to the first one are. I think the game itself is more retconned in terms of this DLC. I, again, would not really recommend playing this. I would recommend buying the Season Pass solely for Assassin's Creed 3 and Liberation Remastered alone. And if you really want to waste your time, go play the DLCs. But, again, that's up to you. I like making these videos. I like critiquing Assassin's Creed because recently there's been a lot that has been wrong with it, whether it's the handling of the lore, the writing of the characters, the animations, the voice acting, the quality of the games in general. These DLCs are the epitome of just bad quality and rushed content. If you agree, please leave a like, comment what you think, and subscribe for more content. I'm going to have the third video up soon, so be prepared for that. Thanks a lot. My Twitter and Instagram are linked below. Keep up with us. We try to post and be active. Thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next video.